So now what we're going to do is we're going to formally define integer subtraction. So the official definition for integer subtraction is, for integers a and b, a minus b is a unique integer, they're going to call it n, such that a is b plus n. Now let me explain that. A minus b is the unique integer n. They're saying a minus b is equal to something. And if you read this backwards, it's like saying n plus b is equal to a, and that's what this says. Think about it. If you were trying to solve for a, wouldn't you add b to both sides? That's what they did here. It sounds fancy, but it's really just basic solving. So what this is saying is you can turn the problem around from a subtraction problem into an addition problem. And so actually they define subtraction as addition, which is really interesting. So if you wanted to solve 10 minus 6 is equal to something. I know you guys know what 10 minus 6 is, but like your students maybe wouldn't. So 10 minus 6, what is that equal to? Well, if you think about it backwards, you think about what would I add to 6 to get 10? This just turned it into a missing addend problem. So what number would you add to 6 to get 10? Well, you would add 4. And so now we know that 10 minus 6 is 4. But by rewriting it as an addition problem, then you just have to know your memorized addition facts. You don't have to have any subtraction facts memorized necessarily. So it says compute the following using the definition of subtraction. So we have to use the definition here. 15 minus 7, well, that would be equal to some number. And I could turn this around and think of it backwards as n plus 7 equals 15. So then you can think of it as addition. What number would you add to 7 to get 15? You would add 8. So 15 minus 7 is 8. But we thought of it as an addition problem. How about this one? Negative 2 minus 3. It's going to be equal to something. So we're going to, like we did this one backwards, we're going to do this one backwards. We're going to say n plus 3 equals negative 2. Now here's where it gets a little sticky. You have to think about what would you add to 3 to drop it down to negative 2? Like what would you, if you had $3, how much would you have to spend to end up with negative $2, right? To be $2 in the hole? Well, I would say if you spent $5, right? Negative 5. Negative 5 plus 3 would leave you at negative 2. So n would be negative 5. You could also think about it, if you didn't like my money example, you could think about it as like a number line. So where would you have to be, you think about it on a number line, where would you have to be on a number line so that when you add 3 or you move to the right 3, you end up here at negative 2? So that means you'd have to start back here if you're going to add 3 and end up at negative 2. So that would put you back here at negative 5. So you can think about it as a number line also. But it is a little tricky when you're dealing with integers. The positives and negatives just make this a little bit harder. But this is the official definition of integer subtraction. So if they ask you anything like this in the homework, this is what they're asking you to do, is rewrite it as an addition problem.